Okay, we're excited because now is the time to get your Q1 of 2026 in order, and we are very excited for what we have in store for you today. The biggest thing that we're offering, and the reason that we are here today, is we know that you deserve clarity and support as clients are preparing for these early 2026 decisions. And that is paramount right now of how you set yourself up to win for 2026 and make it even better than your 2025.
Hmm.
And what we know and what we have seen again and again and again, and we're going to go through the market data on this in just a second about why now is so important. But agents who are helping clients decide with confidence right now, they will own Q1. There's a lot of data, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of things that you're able to give clients, but the most important thing is confidence and clarity in decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay?
I think a classic story. Aaron was a phenomenal example of how to help clients make the right decisions. Um, he had a couple that lived in a three-story townhouse. They wanted to move in the same area, but really wanted first floor living, and they just couldn't figure out how to accomplish buying and selling together in this market, right? Because it seems a little daunting and scary. I know the market's a little soft on the selling side, but my gosh, I want to buy, and this is a great time to be a buyer. How do I accomplish that? And what Aaron did, and this is what we're going to encourage you, you're going to hear this theme, is having strategic conversations all December long to establish a plan. So he set up a strategy session with them. He listened, he asked questions, he listened to their answers and asked more questions, and listened to those answers and asked more questions, and was ultimately able to get to the point to say, if we could find a way to manage a dual transaction for you that makes it comfortable, would that be a path forward for you? And they said, absolutely, it was. So he used the four most powerful words in real estate. Here's what happens next. Let me get you with a lender who has a unique product offering. It's called a bridge adjacent loan. And that allowed them to buy first, making their whole life easier. They could move on their time frame, spend some time getting their house ready for the spring, and be able to list it appropriately without feeling financially strapped. And so that clarity, because of the strategy session, the listening, the asking questions, and establishing a plan. The established plan is here's what happens next. That client was able to move forward with a very clear direction.
Yeah, and they'd been sitting there for months and months and months and months and months without making a move.
Right.
And in many other agents, they wouldn't have driven the four most powerful words or the simple solution. Talk to
Mhm.
this lender, ask about the bridge adjacent loan. I didn't know that existed. It allowed them to be able to make a move.
Right. And your job as agents is specifically to listen and ask questions and provide direction. It's not to make the decision for them, but if you are waiting for your clients to come to you with their decision and you're not helping them in that process, you will find that your Q1 will really stall because you're not doing the planning that needs to happen right now.
Okay, so tell me if you have heard any of these four things from any of your clients. Number one, on the buy side, I'm seeing more homes pop up. Should we wait to see if prices soften even more? Number two, also on the buy side, homes aren't selling as fast anymore. Does that mean we can negotiate harder? Now, tell me if you've heard any of these things on their seller side. I get the prices are down, but my home is different. Buyers will absolutely see the value once they walk in. And of course, you need to go get more people in the door. Or buyers may negotiate more, but serious buyers, they will pay what our home is worth because my curtains are very, very, very special.
That's right, because my grandmother hung them for me and made them specifically for me. So, of course, that's worth more.
So the big question that you get into is what is the market overview? And then how are you able to answer those questions? So again, market wrap up, 5 minutes. Nationwide highlights and big things to know. Rates, we just had a cut from the Fed this Wednesday, but they're averaging about 6.2%. And one of the things that may seem crazy is that with the Fed just cutting rates on Wednesday, rates actually went up a little.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is because the Fed actions this week had already been priced in, but they gave guidance that they may not cut as much. But still, 6.2%. Be really excited for your buyer clients because that, again, is some of the best rates that we've seen in about 12 to 18 months. In addition, this is a crazy one. Tell me if you've also seen this one. Delistings. This is when a home goes active, and then instead of selling or going under contract, it comes off the market. Delistings are up nearly 40% year over year as homeowners are refusing to accept lower prices.
And that's nationwide.
That's nationwide data. And so, right in this market, and again, this is statistical data. When you are having sellers that are pricing aspirationally, right, beyond the data, they are statistically more likely to delist than they are to sell. That's a huge trend, right? A lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of stress to get that ready, ultimately to delist.
Mhm.
Other big nationwide highlight is that active inventory is up 12%. But here's the kicker. The new listings, right, the properties that haven't come on the market and then come off the market and then come back on the market are only up 4%. And what that ultimately means, because a lot of agents are, oh, let's go relist the home and relist the home, thinking it's going to do something with marketing, is that most of the growth of inventory is from stale listings. And
From
so that
listings that
means
didn't
that
sell earlier in the year that are still sitting around there with like $1 price reduction.
buyers agents have a lot of strong leverage on homes that are on the market for over 2 months. As that ties in is right, the median days on market, right, the time that it takes for homes to sell is up 13% year over year to 63 days. And again, that time is now your buyers and your buyers agents the biggest advantage. And so if you see homes that have been sitting on the market over 60 days, you can aggressively go after rate buy downs, repairs, price reductions, which again is phenomenal leverage for buyers that they have not seen in over 7 years.
Mhm.
Also, right, tell me if you've seen this one. About 1 in 5 homes have had a price reduction, right? That is up about 7 to 9% on a year over year basis, which again is reinforcing the message that buyers have a competitive advantage. And the other thing that is interesting, it makes a lot of the news and a lot of the noise, is that the labor market is softening, right? More companies are cutting. Some they're claiming AI, some of them are claiming other things, and inflation is hovering about 3%. Ultimately, what that means is that the Fed, it is supporting some cuts, but they're cautious. And obviously, it keeps affordability really, really tight.
Mhm.
And so, okay, what does that data look like in Houston? And so this is the data that just came out 2 days ago up from last month, is that total sales for the month of November, they were down about 2.7% and about 2.3% for single family homes. One good news is that pending sales are up about 7% year over year, right? Showing good demand to 2026 and getting back to why now it is so important that you win your Q1.
Well, and Bob, back to that point with pendings being up, it does show that buyers are paying attention and seeing and acting that this is a good time as a buyer to make some decisions. So people who say, well, nobody buys in the winter, this data suggests otherwise.
Paige, do you want to tell the quick Holly story?
Yeah, Holly had a great situation where she had some clients that were nervous about listing this time of year, although it was better financially for them to do so, so they didn't have to carry two houses. But they were extremely stressed about a move and moving into the new house and Christmas and a newborn and there were lots of stress around it. And so they were thinking that they would just wait until the spring. And Holly listened to their concerns, asked them lots of questions, listened some more, asked some more questions, and ultimately, where they got to from a strategy of here's what happens next was moving into a private per-seller position because that will allow people to see it, but you will not have the rush that you will in the spring. So there is the difference there. But she said if you wait till the spring, you will not potentially take advantage of relocation buyers because companies relocate their folks this time of year. So they're ready to start in January. And so she said, if we list it now, you have a shot at a relocation buyer. And sure enough, they private presellered it. And 3 days later, at list price in this market, at list price, the seller got all of the terms that they wanted, all of the favorable move out plans that they had, got everything that they wanted because they followed the strategy. But we couldn't have gotten to the strategy without having the conversations.
Also shows active listings up nearly 20% year over year. And single family home inventory is now 5 months. That again, that absorption rate, what that means is if there's nothing new came on the market, it would take 5 months to sell everything out. That is up from 4.3 months last year. Bigger numbers, better for buyers, lower numbers, better for sellers. That number has been hovering in the 2 to 3 month range for the last couple years. So
Mhm.
again, better for buyers.
Mhm.
Days on market, very similar to nationwide trends. It has moved up from about 53 days to 60 days over the course of the year. Single family prices, this is an interesting one. Again, probably you're seeing this a lot. Median home prices, right? Stack 100 homes, pick the one in the middle. Those prices are down. Average prices, add everything up, divide by 100, that number is up. And what that tells you is that the luxury market is lifting the average, right?
Now, the luxury market only accounts for about 5% of all Houston home sales, but they're high enough price that it's skewing the data.
And that's the thing that you see here is in nearly every price segment, volumes are down, right? 6%, 4%. In the luxury market year over year, up 23%, right? Great to be a luxury agent and focus on that now. Here is my most fascinating data of the day, right? This is the data that is the most interesting for you. The list to sale price ratio, right? So if you list a home at $100,000, what does it sell at? It is now 92.2%. So that means on average, buyers are negotiating about 8% off. That is the single lowest ratio since HAR started collecting data in 2001.
And
Say it
it
another.
also implies here that buyers are willing to take action, but they're expecting about an 8 to 10% discount on that home for them being willing to make the decision.
Now, again, here's what all of this means for you, both the nationwide data and the Houston data. And I think you can see it this way, is when you look at monthly home prices and you look at trailing data over the last 5 years, and you look at where we are now from November, you are probably getting comments from sellers saying, oh, I bought my house, but now I don't want to sell at a discount. And if you look at the data, there are only 3 months in the last 4 years where home prices were lower than where they are last month. And so if you bought in 22, 23, 24, and you have to sell, it feels rough. And that is what has been stagnating the market because sellers don't want to accept that reality that their house prices may actually go down.
Mhm.
One of the things, oh, go ahead.
But if you bought your house 7 to 10 years ago, which is about the average time that somebody stays in a home these days, they are just fine.
And here's where you can see how powerful that is, right? When you look at home sales in Houston, this is annually back from 2006, and you look at where we are now, and again, we don't have all the full month of December, but we are shaping up to be the fifth or the sixth best real estate year ever in the history of Houston.
That's not terrible. Houston's been around selling houses for a long time, and to be the sixth best, there could be worse.
And so that's ultimately where you are and why it may feel confusing is if you bought recently, it's a lower price. But ultimately, you still have a great amount of business and nearly 60,000 active homes.
Mhm.
And so what does that mean for you? Right? What does that mean?
Hold
The
on.
big
Before you go that way, you go back real quick because I want to share one other encouraging piece on this slide. When you look to the left side where you see the lower light blue, which 2008, 2009, 10, and 11, those were the 4 down years after the Great Recession. There were 4 down years. If you move to the right, we've got 4 down years. So it is an implication if we follow this path that you will start to see that we will start to come out of this. NAR is projecting 14% more home sales next year than this year. So there are green shoots that we're working through to say that we are slowly going to move back up on the uptick. So if this has been a hard year for you guys, we certainly understand, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel here.
And again, it's the dichotomy between last 4 years, where we are overall. And so your big takeaway, right? The big thing you want to take away from all that data. Clients aren't stuck because the market is slow. They're stuck because the conversations are unclear. That is your big message. Homes are moving.
Mhm.
Activity's out there. Buyers are there. Buyers are making deals. What you want to give is you want to give the clarity to your clients on how to be able to drive that. So, of course, your next big question is how do you do that, right? What do you do and how do you help your clients make wise decisions for 2026, knowing that they're making those decisions today? And so, again, when you think about it, your first question is what are the things, what are the big decisions that your clients are making? And again, as you play along with this at home, I know you know these three things. Number one is, right, do I buy or sell?
Mhm.
Number two, do I wait? And that is typically where most people stop. They say, "Yep, I've got a client, I've got an opportunity, they're making a move. Oh, no, they told me that they're not doing anything until the spring. Oh, no, they told me they're not doing anything until the summer." And your key activity and the key opportunity for how you win in early 2026 is for those people that are not buying and selling right now, is you help them prepare with all the right things.
That's exactly right. Because if you roll in on day one of their search and expect to be able to guide them, you have missed 3 months in their brain of what they've been thinking about. So you, as the agent, are actually behind the eight ball and helping them through the process. But when you are a partner with them and you help them through the preparation as they get ready to make decisions in the spring, you all will be very much aligned and they will see you as a trusted advisor.
And again, don't forget, big nationwide data. Clients hire the first agent they meet with 82% of the time. So your key is number three. So specifically, how do you do that, right? What helps clients make decisions when it feels like the national news is giving a lot of uncertainty, right? Also,
And
very
they
simple.
are.
Yeah, very simple. Number one is what clients want is they want a clear picture of their options, right? They want a clear understanding of what are the paths that they can walk down.
Well, and we'll go back to the story that I shared about Aaron. He gave them a clear path of their options that made them feel comfortable in the plan.
Paige, let's just tie a bow on that, right? Because they thought, oh, if I sell first, I don't have anywhere to live and I don't know if I'm going to find the right house. If I buy first, it gets uncomfortable and I may have to carry two homes. Aaron's answer is really simple. Hey, by the way, do you know there's a third path? Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Number two, they need from you a simple planning framework on how to make decisions. And then number three is they want confidence from you, their trusted advisor, that they're not missing something. Again, back to the Aaron story. Hey, I want to sell first. Oh, okay. Well, I'm concerned about that. Hey, I want to buy first. I'm concerned about that. Oh, did you know about this bridge loan? No, I didn't know that. By the way, is there a fourth option? Nope. Here they are. Simple planning framework, options one, two, and three. Let me give you confidence. This is the path you can run down.
Well, that's actually, he also said your option number four is you just keep living where you're living forever and do nothing. And
And
that's
people are like,
always an option.
I feel like I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
And so, what then is the key question to ask now? And again, we'll give you the slide deck, but we recommend that you write this down because this is your money question, especially for now through the end of the year. Paige,
If you're looking back on this move 12 months from now and get to say, yeah, that was the right decision, what would need to be true?
Paige,
Well,
why
I need to
is
get
that?
my financing in order. I need to talk to a lender. I need to look at some houses to understand what my options are, right? So this is the question that starts to allow them to think and talk so you can then listen and ask more questions. So you can listen and ask more questions to then be able to get to the place of here's what happens next.
And your big one too is you're like, oh, they tell me they're not ready until the summer. Fantastic. By the way, if you're looking back on this move 12 months and you're saying, hey, it was the right decision to wait, what would need to be true? Hey, if you were looking back on this move 12 months from now and you actually did do the move sooner than the summer and you said that was the right decision, what would need to be true? It gives you the opportunity to play with it and ultimately get the data and drive to your why.
Mhm.
And so let's put that in practice, right? Let's take a couple minutes and say it's a very simple framework, it's a simple overview. How do we do that so you have the opportunity to win now to set yourself up for a great Q1, right? So first, why are clients hesitating? Number one, the fear of making the wrong choice. Hardwired into the human brain since we were running around in caves. Walk
Mhm.
into the cave, I hear a noise in there, right? The guy who got eaten said, "Oh, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine," and walks in the cave. Our ancestors, what did they did? I'm going to run away. I
Mhm.
don't know what's in there. It may be food, it may be a bear. I'm going to run away.
Mhm.
Hardwired in the human brain, the fear of choosing wrong. Number two, too much noise,
Mhm.
right? Big thing that you're getting from the media. Number three, unclear next steps.
Mhm. And that's
So,
exactly where Aaron's clients were. They were sitting there on the unclear next steps.
hey, I don't want to buy before I sell because what if I have to take care of the houses for a long time?
Mhm.
Hey, what I don't really want to sell first because if I can't find what I want, then I'm going to be stuck homeless for a long time. Oh, well, what do? I do nothing. But I don't know what to do. Okay, Aaron, bang, talk to this lender, ask about this product. Great, I can move forward. Your clarity is the value that your clients are looking for. That's okay. So how do you do that? Right? What Paige, what's the
Yeah.
AAA framework? What's
Well,
number
and
one?
we covered this last month. You need to acknowledge where they are, right? Acknowledge how they feel because how they feel is right.
So acknowledgement, right? It doesn't, it's a big word, right? It's an SAT type word. But the way that you acknowledge doesn't need to be all that complicated.
Ah, I hear
I
you.
hear you. Fantastic.
It's
Paige,
valid. Hmm.
I hear you. Okay. Approve. Why is approve so important?
Because people want to know that not did you just hear them, but you acknowledge that their decision or their situation, how their feelings are valid.
So you're saying that when I come to you and I ignore you and I tell you your decisions are wrong, that that doesn't make you feel warm inside?
Yeah, no. Even though that all of those things may be true, we didn't go through the AAA framework, and now you don't understand why I'm ticked off.
Fantastic. So how do you approve? Also really simple. Paige, I want to let you know what you just said makes a lot of sense.
I
Cool.
hear you, Paige. Makes a lot of sense.
You de-escalate the tension. Number
Hmm.
three, ask. Why is it so important to ask questions?
It's important because if you don't ask, you don't know the answer. You just assume.
Also, don't overcomplicate it, right? What matters most to you right now? I hear what you say. What you said makes a lot of sense. When you think about that, what matters most to you right now? Right? Simple framework to get back to help people. And again, to tie it together in real estate for your showings. After each showing, this is your magic question. Again, write this down. We'll send you the deck afterwards, but this is what you want to use. On a scale of 1 to 5, where does this home that we just saw land for you? And remember, number three, you can't use number three.
Mhm. Because
Paige, why
like
is that
these
so
houses
powerful?
need to either be a hell yes or a hell no. This the well maybe I'll live there. Nobody lives in a maybe. So you can't pick a three.
And
And if
again,
it's
big
a
thing.
four, your question is what would make it a five?
Or the other question that you can get into, again, depending on your relationship and how fast they have to move, is what would make it something where you want us to write an offer?
Mhm.
May not go anywhere, but what would you like us to do to consider an offer? What would have to be in the offer? What would they have to do repair wise? What would they have to do with a buy down? What would the price have to be to make it a five?
Yeah.
On a scale
And
of 1 to 2, if you're showing only ones and twos, it's the same thing. Hey, I need to sit down with a strategy session. It seems like we're missing the mark. What are we going to do different so we're not giving you ones and twos?
Because as much fun as it is for you to look at houses with me every Saturday, I know you have better things to do than to look at ones and twos.
This will save a ton of your time for those buyers that say, "Oh, I know I told you I wanted a four-bedroom, three-bath house in the Heights for $1 million, but I really want you to show me this $300,000 home in Sugar Land.
Yeah.
It's going to be great."
But it also doesn't just save your time, it saves theirs. And time is valuable. And as much fun as we are to spend time with each other, everybody deserves to get their life back and not just be trapped into a 6 month of unknowing where they need to live.
Back to clarity of what you're giving them is, I know you said this is your buy box. We can do another strategy session, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to waste your time because one of the values that we give as buyer's agents is we help 75 hours of your life. We save 75 hours of your life for every 5 homes you consider. This is a magic question to help you deliver a great value proposition. Okay, so the big question is we're always testing stuff inside the Houston properties team. We wanted to give you a little bit of insight into what we are testing and why we think that those things are so important. Number one, we're giving you one of our favorite new tools of the month because right every month we're rolling out a whole bunch of stuff. Most of those things have been around AI. I'm obsessed, as Paige will say. But the tool of the month that we're going to give you is the AI script practice coach. Because, right, a lot of problems that agents have said is, hey, look, I know I need to script practice, but sometimes it's hard for me to either know what to say. Sometimes I feel awkward in front of a group. Sometimes when I can script practice, my other partners aren't around. And so we built a tool that's available 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That
So, like the 2 a.m. when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, maybe I need to practice the
perfect.
conversation that I'm going to have tomorrow about price reductions, you can use it.
Three big things. Number three is your key. Number one is you can use it for when buyers are giving you the language we went through. I think I'm going to wait till the summer. There's been a lot more inventory. Yeah, I like that. But then at the same time, maybe there's going to be more. Okay. So how do you role play that?
Mhm.
Number two, for timing and 2026 decisions. I've got a lot of things going on. My mother-in-law is coming to town for the holidays, so I don't really feel like doing anything now. Okay, right? Winning agents get the meeting. Agents who lose say, "Oh, okay, well, I'll call you back in the spring." And you call them back in the spring and they've already moved. Here's your big three. This is the big one. Are you good enough on the phone to get a meeting? Because this is the big thing that we're seeing out of agents, right? You've got opportunities. They come from open houses, they come from online sources, they come from social media, but you're having a hard time converting closings. And so the data that you really want is the reason that I'm not getting meetings is because the leads are bad, or am I not good enough on the phone and I need to go do more practice? And that ultimately is where we think the key value of your AI script practice coach, because it'll give you the feedback and it'll tell you if you earned the meeting or not.
And also, we find that sometimes we are just more comfortable practicing with the tool than practicing with a person, right? If I'm going to flub it up, because I will the first 17 times that I do it, it might just be better if I flub it up with the computer. So
If
that
you'd like access, email P Martin at Houston Properties and we'll give you access. Here's the other big thing that we're testing with. I think we have a concierge team. Concierge team has set up appointments for our team. Just a couple key stats. In the quarter, 4,785 reaches, 891 conversations that they've had, 49 confirmed and held appointments, and 22 clients for the quarter. And so when they are making their calls and they are out there setting up opportunities for our team, the big thing that they are playing with is what is the best method to drive a timeline and get a meeting now, right? It's I'm not ready to do anything until the spring. So the question is they're testing between two things. Which one is better? Option one, does the idea of competing with multiple offers in the spring stress you out? Oh, I didn't think about that. So we're getting some traction with that. And
Mhm.
again, we always test, we're always A/B testing. The version that they are testing against is if you found the right home for the right price now, would it make sense to keep waiting? And so in January, when we're back, we can give you the answer to those questions, and we would recommend that you test for yourself. But that's what our
Absolutely.
concierge team, they'll have a lot of data and they're testing it and it's been great. So again, three tactical items, trying to drive clarity for you in the same way that you try to drive clarity for your clients. We recommend three big things. One, the key question to ask now. Go try it out this week. If you were looking back on this move 12 months from now, what would have to happen for you to say, this is the right decision? Right? What would need to be true? Number two, the 1 to 5 scale question. Use it at your next showing. See the power of that. And then when they give you an answer, make sure you ask the next question. Right? It's a 4. Okay, what would an offer have to look like to make it a 5? Or, hey, I noticed this is a 2. What did I do wrong? Right? Can you give me some coaching so we don't do it again? And number three, practice one scenario with your AI script practice coach. Everybody, every real estate book talks about the importance of script practice. Most agents don't do it. Be the one that wins.